So what do you think? Is this something that you would go for? This is the Bigme. They're calling it the HiBreak. I wonder about that naming convention. It's a new one for them. Is it something to do with Hisense? It's something to do with this, I think, inheriting classics and breaking through limits. HiBreak there. So that's an interesting one. We can sort of infer just a few things from these pictures here that we have, the very little limited release that we have from them so far, but we can't tell everything yet. Well, so it'll be very interesting to see on those points. Is this something that you would buy? I just thought I would actually go live rather than make a sort of quick announcement video on this one. I thought I'd just go live so I could hear what you think about this, and is this something that you would actually buy, or is it not an interest to you? Is Bigme a brand that you would trust to be your phone? Are you going to wait for the Boox device? I've got the Boox Palma here. I want to hear your opinions on it. I've got the Boox Palma here, and been a lot of chat on this on my channel because I've just made a sort of full bit in-depth kind of look at this again, and I really enjoyed using it. Of course, my early content of this was like, well, why is it not a phone? And somebody recently, a comment, they said, well, why is everyone talking about it like it's a phone? Why does everyone call it a phone even though it can't make calls? And then, well, okay, it doesn't need to be a phone. It's an e-reader. And this comment said, nobody wanted their Kindle to be a phone. Nobody's, annoyed that their Kindle isn't a phone. Why all of a sudden are we saying that this should have been a phone? Well, it's partly the form factor, isn't it, with this? And it's partly because, well, I just want an e-ink phone. It's not because I wanted this particular thing not to be the great e-reader that it is only. If you want a palm-sized e-reader, great, that's a good option. But it's because I wanted an e-ink phone. So now there's one coming, and there's already a really great comment here from Cute Maxi who says, well, it might have the same problem as the Hisense phones. The 4G, 5G won't work outside of Asia. Well, I asked, the first thing I said was, is this going to work just the same in the UK and the US? And Bigme said, yeah, it is. It's going to be a phone that's going to work at all points. So, I think we need to look at that point here, that this should work. This is intended to be sold in these regions, and it should therefore work as expected. And well, which options are you going to go for is another question. If you are interested in which option will you go for, and I'll flash up the kind of options that they are saying they have now. Okay, they're going to have when they release it. There's going to be 4 different options in the Bigme Hisense, the Bigme HiBreak, and yeah, there you are. Look, it's octa-core both MediaTek versions. You've basically got a low-powered version with octa-core MediaTek 6765, and that's going to have a color and a black and white version. That version will be Android 11, and then they're going to have also a MediaTek Dimensity 900. So that is the same one which is in the Bigme Inknote X, which I'm currently daily driving and using at the minute because that's the one I'm reviewing. I'm using at work, and I'm quite impressed with it, actually. It's going to be quite a positive review about this Bigme. Yes, there is all the things about the software still to deal with that, but actually that MediaTek Dimensity chip is managing that e-ink quite well. And yeah, Cute Maxi, now that I've sort of confirmed that I've had that confirmation, interested now. Cool. Yeah, so that's an interesting point. Somebody says, well, yeah, I've not used Bigme devices yet. I'm familiar with Boox. I'd rather wait, and I would love to see Boox put this out there. One thing I think about this, and the thing I thought straight away is, isn't it great that we're going to have some competition? Let's come back to this slide here, and we'll talk through the kind of pricing there. The other images that I've found, this is the sort of main one. This is the image, and that teaser there. You can see that it's got a kind of textured back on that backside there, and you can make out that there is a front-facing camera as well if you look right at the very top of this image here. So there we are. That's an interesting one. Also, this image here, this is in Chinese. I did put that into Google Lens, and it doesn't say much apart from what I've already shown you there, but they're talking a lot on this slide here. They're talking a lot about it having the removing image ghosting, the X fast rapid refresh technology, which is essentially the same thing as the Boox Super Refresh technology that Boox have. A similar idea. I don't know whether I can say it's as good or not as good yet. We'll see through longer term testing. But they're saying that, you should have very high refresh rates there, very high frames per second. That's what the Newton's cradle thing is all about. I could literally test that one with my Newton's cradle over here. And then they're talking about the sort of removing the ghosting algorithm there at the bottom there, sort of removing of the sort of residual image. My thought about it is I really hope that Bigme isn't just going to rush something out in order to beat books to market, and that is a kind of common thing with Bigme. You know, they're and a lot of people who run things through Kickstarters and Indiegogo, are they trying to put this out as the first e-ink smartphone here for a Western market? Rather than take their time and get the software right. I really hope that is going to be the case, and that's this big challenge for me. Can they make it actually a really seamless and enjoyable mobile phone to use? Because it's got to beat something like the Galaxy Z Fold. It's got to beat something like the Samsungs and the iPhones of the world for us to give up on our Samsungs and our iPhones. So let's have a little look at it. Christina, yep, saying likes the price. Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's an interesting one. We'll look through the prices and the different options in a second again. I'd like a dual screen phone. Yeah, Yota Phone made one, but it was mainly for kind of Russian market. E-ink screen for reading on the back, basically RLCD for videos on the front. I would like that, and I've said it quite a lot. What I would like is to have e-ink screen in the middle for use with a pen, smaller, a bit fatter than this. And I think the next Z Fold is going to be a bit fatter, which is the correct kind of screen size, really. OLED panel on the front, e-ink screen within, or vice versa if it really must be, because that technology is not quite there. But I agree, Stephen, that would be the one. And yeah, a bit wider than even the Boox, although I think it's going to be the same screen. Basically, it's a 5.8-inch screen, and I think that's pretty much what we have here. So I think the screen size we can pretty much confirm already, or pretty much expect it to be that size, because, well, e-ink only makes screens in certain sizes. Some really cool, prices are better than I imagine. I wanted to bring that to you because in the content that I've seen so far, nobody's really talked about that. They've said they're going to confirm at the end of the month. Okay, and that's the thing. Can it actually justify the price that it's got? It's I like the competitive price point as well, and I like that they're giving you the options, whether you need to go for the high processor package and which screen that you want. Right, so which one would you like? Now, personally, I think I'd rather go for the higher processor, and I'm thinking off the top of my dome that I'm thinking that I would probably prefer the color, because that just works better with apps. And actually the price difference doesn't look so massive. So I'm thinking that probably around that kind of $400 mark, sort of somewhere in the middle of that range there, that would be acceptable, I think, for, if it was a good phone. But actually, if you were someone that wanted to spend $250 getting the octa-core MediaTek 6765 there in the black and white, if you know that actually you really are making this choice because you want your phone to be, you want your phone to be something you carry around all the time, so you can make calls and do very simple app kind of stuff, but then and your messaging on there, and have an excellent reader, I think that is going to be a better option for you anyway. You don't need that extra processing power if you really want it to be a reader that can also just be your phone. And I think for many people, actually, that'll make a lot of sense, that black and white version in there as well. So let's have a little look at these as well. Now that we've got the prices there, they've given us ranges, and they've said, well, it'll be, we'll confirm that at the end of the month. They're going to announce that. So let's look forward to that. A few more details about that, if you like. So I'd say, I think the color screen, if you know you're going to be someone who's going to use a lot of apps on it, then color e-ink is fine for apps. Color e-ink isn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Color e-ink, though, is better for apps than black and white screen. Personally, I'm struggling between the black and white screen and the color screen more than the two processor sets. Although if they release the octa-core first, the cheaper one first, then I think a lot of you will go for that one and then not need to upgrade to the Dimensity chip. But knowing the difference between those two chips in essentially the Inknote X here and the Inknote Lite, I know that it is more responsive here with the Dimensity 900. So I would recommend, if money isn't an issue and you're going to be doing a lot of tapping about, more than just page swipes, more than just bringing up the phone to make a call or answer a call, I would suggest getting that chip. And wouldn't it be great, this is what I'm really thinking, wouldn't it be great if actually this e-ink phone had enough processing power to be able to clip into, plug into a touchscreen display or a display link to a keyboard and mouse and go into a sort of DeX mode like the Samsung phones can. And I think that Bigme, that is really compelling. That would need the MediaTek Dimensity level chip. So that would be really compelling to me if you could actually put that, have that ink phone in your pocket. So you're just carrying around a reader with you all the time. That's really a mindful kind of idea for me. You're just carrying around a reader all of the time, and your phone is your reader and your reader is your phone. It's the one device you carry around. And whenever you're, killing a few moments, you read a few pages rather than do a little bit of scrolling. I think that is an excellent option. Something I'm really looking forward to. And wouldn't it be great if that then could become essentially your personal computer by plugging it into a desktop monitor wherever you are, or a portable monitor, and being able to plug it into a keyboard and a mouse and have that come up like a DeX mode. And the Dimensity 900 chip could handle that. It wouldn't be as good as the very top level smartphones, but it would be good enough. So interesting. And text looks better on the black and white screen as well. So if you know that reading is your main thing, then actually sticking with the black and white screen, the lower one, the lower price point, $250-ish, might be the highest one of that. So $310 actually sounds pretty good to me. So interesting where this goes. Let's have a little look at some of your points there. People liking the price looked better than I imagined. Wouldn't make it my main phone. Remember the user experience being rather confusing. Yeah, that's my point. They need to take the time and get the software right to make it really, really excellent. There was a Kickstarter discussed making a dual screen ink phone, LCD on one side. So no back to the phone, and they didn't raise enough money or funds to produce it. Somebody did produce one, I say it's called the Yota phone. Have a little look at that. They weren't popular enough to carry on. I would love an e-ink color with a better processor. Video and video out, yeah, exactly. Like an S24 with e-ink, so you could plug it in, hook a monitor, get a DeX-like experience. Nick's just predicted the bit that I chatted through just a moment ago. Absolutely. So having a desktop experience, so your e-ink phone is your reader, but then you can, when you get to somewhere you need to do something productive, you can stick that in there as well. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think so. The thing is, I think, and the focus on like thinness and lightness, actually just having a e-ink screen, and it being like a piece of paper, and we're going to talk about a little bit later on. I hope you'll join us for the Remarkable 3 chat. I've had my sort of things about what I think Remarkable 3 should do. And one of the things about that, the paper tablet, is it should be thin and light like paper. And obviously with Apple coming out with the M4 chip, and the reason why they had to upgrade the chip already for the new iPads is because they needed something that could fit in the thinnest and lightest form factor. So putting two screens on automatically makes it a lot thicker as a machine. So that's an interesting one as a tablet like that. But certainly having that option, and having a screen available, either you do it the other way around, you carry around your LCD or OLED screen and you plug into a e-ink screen when you get to places. That's one way of doing it. Or you can do it the other way around and have the e-ink screen and plug into an LCD when you need it. No, there's not going to be note-taking with a stylus like the Bigme larger tablets are. Shame, but that is really, it's down to e-ink, because the screens come compiled basically to their factories. At least it's my understanding of it. So essentially there needs to be screens at this size, this phone size. It needs to be a screen with the Wacom layer already made for it. So the tablets are this sort of size, then they have the Wacom layer sort of built onto the screen when they arrive in the factory, essentially. So they don't exist yet on things of this size. You can put a capacitive stylus on there, but I think that you shouldn't bother with capacitive styluses. They're never as pleasurable to write on like this. Cheaper 4G. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Is that what it says on here? Yeah, that I read that in the in the other media coverage as well. Although I don't think let's have a quick look through. I'm just going to go through the details now, what they've actually sent me just next. So you can see exactly what I have been told. I'll even put that on the next slide for us so that we've got it all, and you can see exactly what I've had. It's like teaching a lesson. There's quickly changing your PowerPoint halfway through a live stream. Here it is. This is what they've said. Here, the HiBreak is going to be 5.84 inches, 2 different versions, the color and the black and white. So 4 different versions because there's 2 different screens and 2 different processors for each. There's going to be 2 combinations of the processors. That is going to be the octa-core MediaTek 6765. That one's going to have 6 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes of storage. That one's going to be Android 11. Now, it basically comes down to whether that chip, that MediaTek 6765, can that chip, that system on chip, can that do 5G or not? And I think that's a 4G chip, basically. And then the MediaTek Dimensity 900 with 8 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage, which is a lot. And that one's going to be an Android 14 system. Okay, so that one will be up to date with this right now. And it says one's going to be released first. Another version is expected to be officially released in Q4 of this year. So it could be right around to December, even January, February next year, really. And they say both of them come with the auto ghosting elimination technology. That's the X rapid fast refresh technology. So let's have a little look at what we've got down here. We may even have a troll in the house. We'll see. That's always the case on live streams. Okay, so you just never know what you're going to get turning up live. What kind of riffraff is going to turn up live? But yeah, my thoughts and views about it, competition is undoubtedly good, and I don't know whether the naming convention HiBreak is wise. Somebody else said, well, if it's something that's going to break a lot, maybe they're telling that. I wondered if it should have been called the Limit Break or perhaps the Buster Sword. Let me know if any of us get those kind of references there. That's what it sort of made me think the HiBreak. Yeah, I thought it was quite good. Sort of breaking new boundary. That's quite cool, though, isn't it? But in any case, if this is the thing that kind of gets Bigme and breaks them through into the kind of mainstream, like the Boox Palma is massively mainstream at this point. It's being covered by lots and lots of big reviewers. One thing I'd say as well is that they do need to put a thumbprint reader so that you can unlock it without having to put your pin in. That's not on the Palma, but Bigme, I hope that will be in your things as well. I can't see that anywhere yet in the details that I've got. And it would be really interesting to see which is better, that color or the black and white. If you're just a reader, then you can sort of get away with the lower power version. And if you want a productivity phone, I think you probably want the color and you probably want the higher power chip as well. Yeah, cool. So let's have a little look. And any more comments? Yeah, nothing can beat the Boox. I think that's probably just a bit of a take on somebody, that how all the reviewers who review Boox, they pronounce it as Boox all the time. That's a funny one, that, isn't it? Oh yeah, we did this one with Cute Max, yeah. Mo and Ink Palm, and that display is just way too small for PDFs. Yeah, absolutely. If you want PDFs, you want to look up and go for one of the bigger ones. Absolutely, Shad. Yeah, interesting point. Yeah, like 0.4 pond. Yeah, exactly. That's a really good point, Q. Yeah, so that the point that we are going to have this kind of competition now, I hope, for ink phones, competition for bigger ink screens, hopefully bigger volume in sales, and hopefully therefore getting cheaper as well. Interesting. Interesting point here, though. Don't see a use case for this size format other than .epub files. Yeah, I think just for having with you a novel on the go all the time, essentially, that's the thing. So rather than carry around this thing, big phone, great phones, these. Yeah, I know some people like some people like to carry around flip phones, I don't know how you're getting along with that, Richard, but some people like to carry around the smaller flip phones. I have a nostalgia for having a tiny little phone in my pocket, but I tried that. I tried a tiny little phone and the small e-ink reader. I tried being a kind of 2-phone person, if that makes sense, or 2-device person, and I didn't really get along with it. I was trying to do things on my little phone, my tiny little phone I had. I've since sold it now because I just wasn't getting along with it. I was trying to do things on there that I would do on a larger screen, and then I was having to hook this up to the hotspot of the little phone just to do things online on this, and it was just too much of a kerfuffle, really. So actually living with a reader in your pocket, which is also your connected phone, I think that's really, really good. I mean, the other option, of course, is to live with a reader like this and actually just wear a 4G, 5G, a smartwatch with calls. Maybe we're going to a place where we'll use cameras on our face as well. But the nice thing is, we've not just got competing models of e-ink smartphones coming. We've got competing like tech of how you want to stay connected, how you want to read on the go, how you want to do apps on the go, and all these things. So it's nice to see what they what's being developed. So I just want to hear anything else you think about this. I want to talk a little bit about Bigme as well, because I've had 1 or 2 comments like specifically inquiring about my relationship with them and what that is. The relationship I have with Bigme is no different from any other brand that I review. So Boox, Remarkable, Supernote, they all got the same relationship. There's no formal relationship in terms of like what I produce in terms of content. They send me devices out and I will, make that clear whenever I'm doing unboxing. I normally do that in the unboxing video. I say, look, thanks for sending this out for review, and acknowledge it in the main review, but there's no kind of stipulation to say anything in particular. And there's no stipulation to make it any certain type of content or volume of content or anything like that. So in my opinion, that they aren't sponsored videos. I do have affiliate deals with those, and they aren't, again, anyone can apply for those affiliate deals. Anyone with a website at all can apply to be an affiliate through something like Commission Junction or any of these big websites that have affiliate links. It's just an affiliate sales channel. And it obviously, it makes no difference to me. And I'll review things that don't even have affiliate things. I've got affiliate with Amazon, etc. as well. That's very normal on YouTube. And it's one of the way that the audience makes it possible for us to make this content. I'm really I'm completely transparent about that. And whenever you see that link anywhere, you'll also see a little explanation of the nature of that link as well. And that's not even the case on a lot of the big review sites I see. You'll see links there. It doesn't say right next to it that this is a affiliate link or anything like that. But recently there's been a lot of chat about that disclosure of sponsorship. And there's been a camera company that's been accused of trying to hide sponsorships and even telling people that you don't have to make a disclaimer when it's a sponsored video. And I would say this video is not sponsored by Bigme. The review of a Bigme is certainly not sponsored by Bigme, anything like that. But if it's a paid for ad and you've said things that they have asked you to say, then you do need to tell everyone that it's an ad. You need to make it very clear. And actually, this camera company has got into hot water because they've told influencers, they've told people making YouTube videos not even to make that disclosure, and that's no good at all. And that would never be the case for me. It is true. I always make it clear that these have been sent to me for review, and sometimes I get to keep them, sometimes I have to send them on or back. If it wasn't for receiving those samples, I couldn't make the reviews. So I certainly couldn't make all the big roundups, but there's never a case that I'm going to be told what to say. And that's the real issue. When a company tells you what to say, they exert control over the video, and they're not watching a review, therefore. Now, that's never happened to me from Bigme at all. It's never happened from any ink tablet company, actually. It's never been the case that they've said, we'll send you this review as long as we'll send you this sample as long as it's a positive review. That's not happened. It has happened to me before, and I've said, no, I won't make the video. And sometimes they say, well, okay, we'll send it to you anyway, make whatever video you like. Sometimes they'll say things like, we suggest these topics, and sometimes they're good ideas, and I make them in that way. But that's, again, none of that's ever happened from any e-ink tablet company. Now, I can't speak for all reviewers, and I wonder whether some people have a different contact or have had dealings with different people at different companies. And one thing that camera company said is that they'd recognized a small number of their staff were suggesting this to some influencers. And so sometimes maybe it's one person that you're talking to that they're giving you a different set of expectations. And that's funny. That's really strange to me that one person in a company would have a different expectation of what an influencer being sent a product for review would do. There was a time, once upon a time, when I was approached to be sponsored by Bigme by a different person at Bigme. And I said, well, look, I already work with Bigme and I already make the reviews without being sponsored by you guys. I don't want to be sponsored by you guys. I'd much rather focus my reviews and make sure everyone knows that they're impartial. So you don't need to give me any money. I'll just make your reviews. But then that means that that person was then looking out and trying to pay for content, sponsored content. And as long as that content is going out with those disclaimers that say this is sponsored content, I've got no problems with that, and neither should you. It's the case with Remarkable, with Justine, and what's he called, Lou from Unbox Therapy. They made it clear it was sponsored content. It was an ad. It's absolutely fine. So as long as that's happening for them, but that has never happened for me. There's never been the case that I've had any pressure to say anything about a certain company, and I certainly wouldn't have done that. And I don't send my videos for them for checking. Sometimes there might be a case that I get a fact wrong in a video, in which case I might cut that thing out. Again, that hasn't actually happened, but that's what I might do. Or I might put a correction in the comments or something like that. Again, that hasn't actually happened, but I do know that does happen. And sometimes there was one case, actually, I reviewed a microphone where I missed something out. I took down the video and I added a portion into the video. It wasn't that I had said something wrong. I added a portion to the video and I re-uploaded it again after they'd said, look, factually, that's wrong. That's okay, isn't it? So factual, fact checking sometimes happens from companies, but it hasn't happened to me. Anyway, that's that bit there. I hope that was useful. It's interesting. I certainly haven't had any pressure from them. I have been really critical about Bigme devices, and I've talked about in this one. I hope they get the software right, because that's their issue generally. And somebody did comment that they noticed my product reviews of Bigme devices are getting more positive, and that is true. They have been getting more positive because the devices have been improving, and they are listening to feedback, and some cases they're acting really quickly on that feedback. It's not because of any pressure from them at all, and it's certainly not an underhand deal. I've had people say, you must be working with Boox because you're so positive about them. No, it isn't the case. I haven't been any deal with them to say any certain things or make positive reviews at all. I hope that's been useful for me to talk through. And yeah, will I be getting a Bigme sample review now? I hope so. And I hope, seeing this bit of content, you guys will be interested as well. And I hope that I will get one to review in the future. Watch this space. I wonder which ones they will come out with first. Let's just pop them back up again. I'm kind of expecting them to go ahead and bring the 6765 ones, the lower powered chips first. We will see. I'm kind of expecting them to bring out the color and black and white at the same time, but focus on one of the processors, therefore one of the operating systems. And I think that would be the lower end first. That would make more sense. But maybe they'll come out with the all guns blazing, but then kind of give you that, well, if this is too expensive, then maybe wait for the next one. So cool. I hope that's been useful. I hope also to see you in a very short amount of time, half an hour, less than that now, 20 minutes, and I will be talking with Brandon and Voya about the future of Remarkable as well, and giving you our predictions. So jump on that live stream as well a little bit later. Thanks so much for being here and watching and contributing to the content.